Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this story is from my beloved city of Chicago. Chicago has been staying in the headlines with the migrant issue. There's a $1 billion budget deficit with Mayor Brandon Johnson and the city. There is tons of assaults, gun violence. You have kids in Chicago in the inner city public schools who are reading 2 grade levels behind where they should be in testing, and in math, there are 2 grade levels behind in their testing in math. So there is a lot of chaos and disruption that's taking place, and we need to be the leaders and the mentors for our young children. And this case is about a woman, and this deals with the school district of Harvey, Illinois, in Chicago, where this lady ended up pilfering over $1.5 million of what I'm going to tell you. It's an unfortunate story. It has nothing to do with murder, but it's almost comical how she got away with this and then eventually got caught stealing. And I'm gonna tell you what she stole. So Chicago has all kinds of issues, and this particular story doesn't help at all. So here we go. Kansas City Chiefs player offers to cover $1.5 million in stolen chicken wings to free a woman. Yes, indeed, $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. Despite her being convicted of stealing food from kids during the COVID pandemic, Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones offered to cover the $1.5 million worth of chicken wings stolen by a former food service director in exchange for the woman's release from prison. That's right. Vera, Liddell, who served as the director for Harvey School District 152 near Chicago, is incarcerated at the Cook County Jail for theft and operating a criminal enterprise, WGN, ABC News, and CBS News reported. She pleaded guilty on August 9th to the charges and got a 9-year prison sentence, the outlet said. 9 years. The 68-year-old Miss Liddell, stole the mounds of meat intended to be take-home meals for students learning remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic, WGN reported, citing Cook County prosecutors. In a social media post recently, Jones said the Kansas City Chiefs football player said he would pay for the wings that she stole to get her free. But that's not how the law works. Whether he pays it or not, she's been convicted of it. There is restitution based on theft, but that does not get you out of your conviction. How did Vera Liddell steal the chicken wings? Liddell's job involved placing orders with Gordon Food Services, a main supplier for the school district, prosecutors said. She placed the orders and did the billing, but kept the chicken wings between July 2020 and through February 2022 for 2 years, prosecutors said. Between August and November of 2021, Ms. Liddell ordered more than 11,000 cases of chicken wings from the food provider or vendor, and then picked up the orders in a district cargo van. So she even drove the van picking up the chicken wings. I mean, how bodacious could that be? The massive fraud began at the height of COVID during a time when students were not allowed to be physically present in school. read a proffer presented at Liddell's bond hearing in 2023. Even though the children were learning remotely, the district continued to provide meals for the students that their families could pick up. The chicken theft operation was discovered in 2023 when an audit found that the district's food service department exceeded its annual budget by $300,000 halfway through the school year. That's halfway through the school year. It would have been $600,000 if they'd have found out a year later. The business manager for the district then found the invoices for the chicken wings, which was odd because it was a food item that wouldn't be served to students because they contained bones, the outlet said, citing court records. So, if you think about it, when you went to school, they're going to give you chicken tenders, not chicken wings. It is amazing how she was able to get away with this theft for almost 2 years. But you got to think about it. This was during the pandemic, where there was tons of disruption. People were not going to work. We didn't know about the vaccines and vaccinations and which ones to take, how many to take. So there were a lot of people had their minds on a lot of other things, just trying to survive. So this was a fine time for this lady, 68 years old, Vera Liddell, for her to, since the eyeballs was not on her department per se, where she thought that she could proceed on with this theft, allegedly. That is a lot of chicken. And what in the world was she doing? She had to be selling it. She couldn't have been just giving it to family members. You're talking about, what do we say, almost 11,000 cases of chicken wings. That is a lot of chicken, and $1.5 million in theft. What does it tell you? Are we operating in very, very tough times for our middle class and our lower middle class, to where people feel like if they can commit a crime or steal something, that they would go ahead and do it? I know inflation is a big deal. Of course, as we said, the pandemic shut everything down and had people scared to death. I'm not making one iota of an excuse for this young lady, because guess what? That theft had a direct effect on the children. It's hard enough for them to be trying to learn their lesson plans in math, English, science, and all that. A lot of these kids in these inner city public schools come from low income families, where a healthy meal is of the utmost importance. And what a lot of people don't realize, during the school year, for many poor kids, that is their most healthiest meal, or maybe their only meal that they're gonna have for that day. So for her to, that's like her stealing a plate from a poor kid that's just waiting to eat right off the table. And to do it with such hubris is just beyond measure. I don't know if this is a case of mental illness or just greed. But for her to think that she was going to get away with stealing over 11,000 cases of chicken over a 2-year period, and there was not going to be any checks and balances. At some point, once the pandemic kind of settled down, there was going to be auditing for all kinds of things. There have been tons of people that are getting in trouble in today's time, and even going to jail for falsifying COVID relief funds and businesses. We all know all about that. And people were making fictitious businesses up, saying they had this many employees, that many employees, and remember, the government was writing checks. Well, that day the chicken has come home to roost, because now that we're done with the pandemic and we have settled back down into our normal everyday living in this country, the United States government and the IRS and all the alphabet groups are now looking at all of these fraudulent fake companies looking at all of the invoices, and this situation is where instead of getting her hand caught in the cookie jar, she got her hand caught in a pound of chicken. I think the Kansas City Chiefs player offering to pay the $1.5 million back is a nice gesture. I don't think he ever did it. So was it a marketing ploy for himself to make himself look good? Or was he actually going to do it? Or maybe once his legal team and his advisors informed him that even if he paid her debt, it was not going to reduce her prison sentence. But if he was truly about him giving back, and from a charitable standpoint, give the $1.5 million back to Harvey schools so that school district can get back into the black as far as their food service is concerned, because that $1.5 million they won't get back once it's gone. If he wants to donate that to the Harvey schools in Chicago, still do it. She is the one who made the decision to conjure up this theft thing for chicken wings, and then she got caught and has to pay the price. Tell me what you think. It's sad, but it's almost a little bit comical and unbelievable that this woman, not young lady, 68 years old, so you know she knows better. She's at retirement age, would steal over 11,000 cases of chicken wings worth $1.5 million that went against the Harvey School District 152 right outside in near Chicago. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.